So this is our swing arm with the Wildcat 460 big block engine. In the last episode, we removed this swing arm and removed the GY6 engine and did all this modifications to mount this engine and transmission on this original swing arm, and we didn't have to move the axle. And that was important because if you don't move your axle location, you don't have to move your shocks. So we should have a good feel in suspension, and we should have a huge upgrade in power even with this pretty much stock 460 engine. Well, we don't have an exhaust, and that's the last piece we need to finish out this swing arm. So we have our muffler here. You can get these on Amazon. These do have a removable silencer. Normally we don't run the silencers, but it just depends on the build. And then we have a bunch of bends and straight pieces. These you can buy on rbgkarts.com. These are 1.5 inch 90-degree bends. We also have 1 inch, and 1 1/4 is coming very soon. We also have a bunch of different transitions. This one's 1 1/4 to 1.5, and this is the perfect size to transition to the 1.5 inch pipe from our port on our head. And we got this stainless flange that I have made from Sin Cut Sin, so we got a super nice transition. So what I'm thinking about on the exhaust is going to come out and do like a full loop and go to the muffler, because if we just went down, it'd be a super short run of tube, and it might make the exhaust a little too loud, I think, because we've experienced that before.
We have.
And we don't want it like crazy loud. We like a good sound, but we don't want it. Lonnie's buggy is deafening loud.
It hurts your ears.
Yeah, so we got to do something about it. We'll probably swap to these mufflers with the silencers for him. Most likely, I don't know. But so we got to tack on this, and we can go ahead and tack on 190 to this transition. So we'll tack this on first, and then we can tack this on to that flange, and then we can start mocking up how we're going to build the exhaust, and we'll mount the muffler after we get the main header built. So let's get right into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is weld the 90 to this transition, because what I can do is do a few fusion tacks around this, and then we got this XT200 welding positioner from Lima, however you pronounce it, I can't remember. But this thing is freaking amazing. I've been wanting one of these for years, so it's really nice to have it. But first we need to tack this part. So we're just fusion welding it. I'm not going to worry about back purging it. This can back purge through it. We got a full review coming out on this. You can back purge through this system, but I got to buy all the fittings to hook up my back purge. Then I can basically put a section in it and TIG weld something, and it back purge through this entire process. Or system, I mean. Am I crazy? Yeah. So we're just going to line that up. And again, I'm just fusion welding it because it's plenty strong, especially if you support the muffler. That's very important. A lot of people don't put the support on the muffler, and that's what breaks the exhaust. It just takes a little bit to fusion weld it. Yeah, there we go. Now with that done, I've modified a ratchet so I can ratchet this open and shut. Let's see. We're gonna do it like this. Now the biggest thing about fusion welding is, wrong one, wrong pedal, is you want to just get your speed right. So with this, I found about 4 to 5 is on this knob is the right. I mean, we can speed it up to that. You see I blew through a little bit, so I have to put a little rod in right there. But I mean, you can go down to where you can't even, it's turning right now, but you can't even tell it. This thing's super nice, and it has no jittery to it. So how you do this is you got your foot pedal down here that I'll be using to spin the setup, as you can see when I hit the foot pedal. Then I'm going to put my welder on pulse, on a slower pulse, and basically when I hold down this button instead of my foot pedal, I got my button on here hooked up, it'll pulse, and I can speed up this to find out what the right thing is. The biggest thing is just keeping your hands super steady. I'll get ready to pass this fusion weld. So there we go. So I had my amperage on 64 amps. This is stainless, so stainless needs a lot less amperage than you would for something else. And the biggest thing is keeping your hand steady so you don't walk the bead up and down. So let's look at it. Look at that, look at that. It's like a robot, dude. And that was where one of my original tacks was, and that was where I blew the hole through it when starting. That's crazy though, ain't it? It's like
perfect.
Yeah, precise. And I can add a little bit of filler rod to patch up this hole. Now I know back purging would be the best for this, but I have found that if it's a super high performance exhaust, see there's hardly no sugar in there, is what we call sugar. Can you see in there? Mm-hmm. There's no real, that's hot. Can you believe it?
I believe it. Yeah, you can't see anything.
Yeah, so it's by the way, that's the best flashlight money can buy. It's the best. A little big, about the size of a small candy bar, but I like candy. All right, now we can go on to our flange. Now the biggest thing with the flange is we're going to weld some on the outside, but we're going to fusion weld it on the inside lip. So we don't want this pipe to touch the table. We don't want it to set flush. We want it to set up a little bit, but we want it to be even. So found a washer that fits perfect in there, like that. Then we can push that all the way down. But of course we need to make sure to clock this right on the buggy first, or on the engine. So we're gonna go to the engine now, make sure this is clocked exactly how we want it. Then we can come tack this a couple times and go ahead and build the rest of the exhaust. This figured out, so we're gonna drop that washer. It's like a perfect fit. I'm just gonna shove this thing in there and put my lines on there so we know it's dead right for, you know, what I want. You can see with that washer in there, we get a good even lip around there. So my lines are still, all right, so I'm gonna tack this on a couple times and then I can go ahead and weld this because that's where I do want it, you know what I'm saying? And I still, again, I don't have to, as long as I don't put too much heat in it, I'm okay to not back purge it. And now, if you didn't know it, the prime welds have a wireless foot pedal, which is the best. Hold it down, make sure it all stays in place. Yeah. Okay, now I'm on, what I say, 65? Yeah. I'm gonna turn it up to about 75 for manual welding. 65 is where we need to keep it for the pulsing. So this is what I'm going to do to give us as much room around the bolt hole. I'm not going to weld at the bolt hole. Right back here. So I'm stopping right before the bolt hole. Okay, now I haven't welded right there or right there. And the reason for that is now I can fusion weld on the inside of this. Shouldn't have to use any filler rod or anything. So what I'm going to do is clamp this in this so I can go around it and fusion weld it. And fusion welded just uses the material that's there. And then I can put this on the belt sander and make sure it's still completely flat once it cools down.
That is all hand.
That's all what?
Hand.
Yeah, you see what the fusion looks like? So it gives it a super nice, strong transition on the inside. So I'm going to do this all the way around and then we can start building the rest of the exhaust. mark. Nope. Normally I tack it a bunch of different times because those tacks do better than you think. It's gonna be a wild exhaust. Freaking wild, dude. It's gonna be wild. My hands are on hot tacks. My hands are on hot tacks. You have to have the joints so extremely tight or it'll blow through like that. Like I had that tiniest gap in there and that's why I did it. See what we're going for there. It's going to wrap around itself and go to the muffler to give a little bit more length to the exhaust. One important thing is do not forget to ground the machine directly to the welder. I forgot on that round, you can hurt the internal electronics because it's having to ground through the entire body. But that worked out super nice.
Real nice.
So now we can spin it like this and do the last one on this piece. The first thing I'm going to do is crank it up and make sure my pieces in there straight, because that's going to affect how it, you know, your movement of your hand. So that'll be good. I love his tool. Thing is the cat's wow. So yeah, I'm gonna weld this one out. You know, so I don't have interference, and then weld this one out so I don't have interference. So I fusion welded that entire thing without having to use any filler rod. So I should be able to do the same on the other pipe. We got these quick disconnects. These are for airbrush guns, and they've adapted them to these. Argon is heavier than oxygen, so it's going to naturally push all the oxygen out. You normally want this to be like your high side, the exit, but you know, see me.
great.
Okay, let's do this different then. This is the last weld that we have to do. Dang it. This is the last weld that we have to do. This is hard to clamp.
Well,
okay?
this is hard. He's trying.
There we go. Is what I wanted? No. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, this is the last weld. Alright, so I'm gonna tack that, get it welded, and then we can make our muffler hanger. Normally I'm building exhaust by myself. You know, I always wait till you leave because of all this process. It's hard holding stuff. Alright, I need you to come over here and be my steady hand.
Yeah, I'll hold the
Go over here.
and hold that.
They
don't
Your
know that
biggest
till
thing is
now.
pinching on each side, making sure there's absolutely no gap. And I'm going to tack it in the middle. You're going to get the lines perfectly lined up. So the exhaust is installed. We haven't put the spring retentions for the muffler, but I'll do that before this goes to Cerakote. It's not that necessary if you got a good hanger. So we cut this on the plasma table and then did this weird bend in it by clamping it in the vise and using a set of adjustable wrench to tweak it. So now we got some longer valve cover bolts to compensate for the 3/16 material, 3/16 steel material. It scared me for a minute. Okay, and we have a 3 grapes bolt, and I'm gonna put, you can separate the two if you know what I mean by the hanger, but I don't like to. I do be liking it though. I do be do.
Yeah, the whole setup looks awesome.
No, sorry.
You should be.
Okay, there we go. And then we'll, very soon, the mufflers come with either rods or these tabs for the springs, and we can hook spring on there right under that, just clears, and then weld this tab out here, just fusion weld it for that spring to grab onto, and that just keeps the muffler from, I've never had one honestly slide off, but I'll definitely do it before.
Well, especially with that clamp, it shouldn't.
Yeah, that jig clamp it. Looks sick. It's probably gonna, that's a trumpet, so that should enhance the sound. Maybe negatively, like just making it louder than the dickens. But I do like it. That is sick. right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video on the exhaust. We're going to start this up in the next video because we should have it installed on the go-kart. Like I said, we're breaking this down into every individual part, so we're doing it in depth. I showed every piece. A lot of times I skip a lot of the exhaust build, but I wanted to show you guys how I build exhaust. Now, I know people don't have TIG welders, they don't have positioners. We've built our tools up over the last 10 years, and I've focused a lot on the tooling in my shop. But we understand a lot of people don't have this. You can MIG weld these together. Just turn your amperage down on your welder and your wire speed, because stainless welds a lot easier than mild steel. It takes less power to weld it. So you can get these on our website. We have the 90s, all the transitions. We have 1 inch to 1.5. We have 1 1/4 to 1.5, and then we have 1 inch to 1 1/4. So no matter what transition you need, we have them. We also can put these laser cut stainless flanges for big blocks. These work on 670s as well. So the same flange you'd use for a GX 390 all the way up to a 670. Then we have stainless small block flanges coming out, and we'll have everything you need to build exhaust. And we've linked the muffler down on from Amazon in the video description. Everything we're using on this engine and already have used in the video series is linked down below. If we forget anything, let us know, because there's a lot to remember and we could forget. But make sure to check out RBG Karts for stuff like this. And we appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed this exhaust. I can't wait to hear it. It's probably going to be loud. We're going to take that the silencer out and see just how loud it is. But the next video, we talk about wiring, and we go in depth on how to wire up everything on this engine, wire up a simple light bar and a key switch ignition, and get everything ready and put our high amperage, our 26 amp charging system on this engine. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. We love you and God loves you, and we'll see you on the next one. God bless.